All right, folks. I think you're going to see us in any second now. We should be live. This is Michael Voss, the Dragon of the Southern Tier, and we are on No Soundbites Allowed. I am in the studio again, and I am very happy to be here with you. We're going to be talking with the New York 122nd District candidate, Nick Libous. We're going to be talking about the 2020 election on the local level, things that have not been talked about since the impeachment process has been going on, things that people have not been really hearing about. There's a lot that's been happening in America for quite some time now, and nobody knows about it. I mean, we're talking about, as NBC News reported back on January 27th, there was the news that the Supreme Court allows President Trump and the Trump administration to deny green cards to people who are coming to the United States because those people will be looking for aid. They will want food stamps and other government aid. And since they're dependent on America, they can't come. Did you hear about that? You probably didn't. What about Ellen DeGeneres? And the fact that she decided to give $20,000 to a student because of his hair, not because of his grades, not because he was a scholar, not because he achieved anything. No, according again to NBC News. Are you surprised? The news was that the kid got $20,000 because he had dreadlocks and he didn't want to cut them. What a reward for just being black. There's news that no one wanted to talk about. And of course, there's the breaking news, which I will be talking about later today, about Steve Cornwell, the former DA of Broome County. He came out and he's announced that he is out of the New York 22nd race. He has decided instead to run as a judge in Broome County Family Court, and he's out of the New York 22 race. So that's a lot of news right there. And we're going to talk about all of that. I'm going to have Jon Lizak of the Broome County College Republicans here live, but instead, at that moment, I'm going to talk about something that I think is just as important, actually more important. I'm talking with none other than Nick Libous, who is the candidate of the New York 22nd District, and he is on with us live by phone. Nick, can you hear me all right at this moment?
I can hear you, Mike. How are you today?
I'm doing well, and thank you, Nick, for being here with us. I know, folks, you're going to hear us. As always, I know the phone's a little bit rough, but you guys should hear him perfect. I know, Nick, you may not hear me as well. So, Nick, I've known you for many years now. I interviewed you 2 years ago when you decided that you were going to run for the New York 122nd District against then and still current Assemblyman Clifford Crouch. Cliff is out. You're running again. Can you tell me, what's changed between the last race and this race?
Well, I think a lot has changed, Mike. If you look at the structure of the state, it's gone far left, and I think that's unfortunate. It's providing us with laws like the bail reform law, which is a revolving door for criminals. They go in and then they get let right out. It's similar to a catch and release system that we have on our borders, which I'm strongly against. If you look at the green light law also, Mike, these are laws coming from the left and from the Democrat majority control. And I think when you look at the majority that is giving us these failed policies, we've got to fight harder, and we've got to be more energetic and more boisterous about fighting these issues. And we need candidates who aren't afraid to step into the ring. And I'm here to prove that I am that candidate.
Well, that's important that we have people who are willing to stand up for the people, especially at a time where we're seeing a single party government under Governor Cuomo that has put out things like bail reform, that has put the state into, in the last 2 years, $8 billion in debt. I mean, that's huge. We have 1.2 million people who have left the state. So it's important to have people who are going to try and change that momentum that we see as Governor Cuomo tries to get us to be a progressive capital. So let me ask you, in looking at you've had, a lot of people may not be familiar with your background. You've been around politics for decades.
Yes.
What's that background, and what has that helped in your decision now?
So obviously, I was born into a political family. When I was as young as 10 years old, I was in parades with my father. I went out and put out signs for my father with him. We stuffed envelopes together. And that really instilled in me at a young age a work ethic. And seeing what he was doing for the community really had gotten me excited at a young age. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go into politics in my young life, but as time went on and I again see the direction of our state, Mike, I have to step in. Look, I'm a small businessman. Small businesses are held accountable for employees, budgeting, projects, and that's something that Albany is not. They're not being held accountable right now. And when you have this one party rule, I think we need people who understand accountability, who understand how to create jobs and have created jobs. And I think that's one thing that actually separates me from my opponents who are also in this race. And I've heard there's been a number who have already announced. But I really think the one party rule is something we got to fight. And with my business experience, with my experience creating jobs, I think I can fight that. And as you said with Governor Cuomo, the budget keeps expanding. We have a $178 billion budget right now. It keeps going up and up. It's been up tens of billions of dollars since Governor Cuomo has taken office. If we keep going down this trend, we're heading for a disaster. If I ran my business like this, Mike, I would be out of business. And I think it's important that Albany understands that there is going to be accountability if we keep going down this track. And we need to step in now, and we need to do something about it.
Okay. Well, Nick, let me ask you something. Since you brought it up, and I brought it up a little bit as well, and I
Sure.
will be speaking to Vic Furman, who has also announced himself as one of the candidates for the New York 22nd Assembly District.
Yes.
Vic is an advocate and has been an advocate, very vocal and very out there in the public on energy, on fracking. It's a big issue for him, and he's a strong advocate for that. We've seen you have been out. You talk about Lyme disease. You're an advocate for Lyme disease. You've been involved in politics for many years. And then there's Mr. Joe Angelino. So, which I was looking over. As I said, I've seen information from Vic. He's been on WMBF, a local talk radio news show, many, many times, constantly involved. You've called into that program many, many times. Mr. Angelino, the best I can see, and I think you had actually, I'm showing it. You had a Twitter feed of him back in September of 2019, September 16th, when he joined Anthony Brindisi, Jason Garnar, and Donald Lepardo. Actually, I should give their titles.
Yes.
Representative Anthony Brindisi, County Executive Jason Garnar, Assemblywoman Donald Lepardo, and Mr. Angelino were all together to talk about chocolate milk in New York, which at that time I mentioned that this had nothing to do with upstate New York, with Broome County, but he was there for that. And other than that, I have not found anything from Mr. Angelino. But you know this race. You know these individuals. Let me ask you.
Sure.
What separates you from Mr. Angelino and his support of chocolate milk in New York City? What separates you from Vic Furman and his support of fracking? What makes you the different candidate?
So, let me just say this. With Mr. Furman, I am totally in agreement with him regarding the fracking issue. I believe that we need to tap into that natural resource. It's right under our feet, and that's something that we definitely need to utilize. As for what's different from myself and my opponents, it is my management and business experience. Look, I respect anybody who gets into this race. They're to be respected. Anybody who steps into the ring, puts herself out there for public office, I respect that. But the difference between myself and all of the candidates in this race is that I have been held accountable, as I said, for running a business for the past 10 years. And if I wasn't good at doing that, I wouldn't be doing it for the past 10 years. And I'm not trying to be redundant, but Albany needs to operate with that same type of business accountability. We really need to get smart in Albany fiscally, and we need to get serious about the direction of the state, as I said. But the difference between myself and the candidates in this race, Mike, to be point blank, it is my experience with job creation, with balancing budgets. And I think that that's going to make a big difference in Albany. And that's why I want to take that experience to Albany.
See, and you hit right on something that I wanted to talk about because, and I plan to ask every candidate this. I did try and question that of one of the candidates on when they were on the talk radio program, although it was never asked. What are the issues that you, looking at the New York 122nd District, considering the environment of the assembly at this time, what are the issues that you say are prominent? I mean, there's wind energy that's being promoted at the Bluestone development. There's talk about, well, a lot of things, but what's your issue?
So there's a lot of issues, but if we really have to hone in on a couple of them, Mike, obviously the New York State SAFE Act is something that's dangerous because the Democrats in power are going to take it a step further, and a step further. The Second Amendment it's more than a right; it's a way of life here in upstate New York. And as a gun owner, I understand that. And they're only going to infringe on our rights more and more and more. They've already got us all on lists, and I think that needs to stop. Obviously, we mentioned Lyme disease. I think that's a spreading issue. That's unfortunately, we find more and more people have Lyme disease, and there needs to be coverage for that, I believe. The state, unfortunately, allocated $1 million for Lyme disease in last year's budget, which really is not a lot for research if you're looking at other diseases.
Not for any disease.
And what they ended up doing was taking that money out. We have to fight for Lyme disease research, and I think that can be something we could do across party lines. And then, Mike, the other issue, as a businessman that I noticed, the out-of-state migration. We've lost over 1.4 million people since 2010. Why is this happening? Because upstate New York has some of the highest taxes in the nation. That's what we're on the map for high taxes. And you know what that's causing? That's causing out-of-state migration, and it's going to continue to happen. And we need to do something about that. We need to lower our taxes, and we need to cut red tape for businesses. And I think this is an issue that is only going to get worse. And if you look at, obviously, the jobs and economy, that goes right in hand with that. If small businesses are having their feet held to the fire, they're not going to be able to create jobs. I know that firsthand. So we need to create that environment, Mike. And I think that's something I want to work hard on.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, we know that as of December, Broome County lost 100 jobs. Oneida County lost 100 jobs. Upstate New York has been, actually it was 500 jobs in Broome County were lost. We know that we've been in a deficit, even though we have 3.5% unemployment across the nation. Obviously, something is going wrong here that is a problem. So let's take a different question, because not often enough people talk about the human aspect of the race and the candidates. I want people to know about you. Who are you? How are you being received? How is the campaign going so far since you made your announcement?
So thank you for that question. It's a great question. I have been overwhelmed with the amount of support that I have been getting throughout the community in Broome County, Shenango County, Otsego County, and Delaware County. I am absolutely thrilled with all the support, and I'm obviously looking to take that and move forward, and it's going to energize me to go door to door and meet more voters, and you're not going to find a candidate that's going to work harder than me. So I'm really pleased with the reception I've been receiving. Look, I ran against Cliff Crouch last time around. Everybody knows that, and Cliff was a well-respected man, and he deserves that respect. My challenge to him was a professional challenge. It was not personal. I wish him the best. But my point being, I'm not afraid to get knocked down. I'll get back up again. And that's what we need in Albany. And that's what I want to do, Mike.
All right. So far, in looking at, we know that February is the start of petitions. You're going to be out there. Everyone's going to be out there. It's crazy weather. Is that something that puts you off? I know a lot of people wonder about that.
No, I'm sorry. No, to be frank, no, it doesn't. If it's cold out, if it's too hot out, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be knocking on doors. I'm going to look to meet the voters. I just hope that they'll open the door in the cold weather. I guess that could be a concern. But
Yeah.
I'm not concerned, Mike, to answer the question. I'll just knock on more and more doors. That's the answer to that. I have nice coats and I'll be fine.
Right. Give me a second. I'm just looking over my notes, and there's so many things to be talking about and cover in this race. And I want to do justice to the voters out there and try and address a lot of their concerns as well as as well as you as the candidate. Now, it's a long race. It costs money for elections. How does that look? Do you think you're going to be able to raise the money you need?
So originally in 2018, when I ran against the sitting assemblyman, I had over 25, almost 30 donors from different places that supported me in my candidacy. I am positive with the amount of support I've received so far that I'll be able to put that into a financial situation where we can move forward with the campaign. Look, it doesn't matter what I have in the account. I'm running based on my work ethic, based on what I've done as a small businessman. And, something like money is not going to stop this campaign. But I will tell you, I am receiving a lot of support, and we will be obviously asking people to support the campaign.
So money's not a concern. You're not worried about that. That's positive, just like it was in the last race in 2018. Okay. And again, these are questions that people always ask. And I have
Absolutely.
And there is one other question I have to ask because it will come up. Clifford Crouch, the establishment of the Republican Party, Chairman B. Joy Data, some others, have put out their names and said that they believe in a different candidate. I've had several members of the Republican Party speak to me privately and have already reached out to me and say they disagree and that they have a difference of opinion. How do you see unifying the party behind yourself for those people who are saying there's a question here?
So I will just say this. I am very concerned that the Broome County chairman has already chosen a candidate.
Has he spoken to you?
Without interviewing the candidates. And he has not chosen me.
Has he? He has not spoken to you?
Nope, he has not reached out to me. I've reached out to him in the past about running for the seat, and he has not reached out to me. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think BJoy Data needs to start looking for good leaders and stop looking for clients, and that's a fact. And this situation illustrates that perfectly. Broome County right now has 2 candidates for the seat. I'm not sure if Mr. Furman has been interviewed, but I can tell you this: I have not.
To my knowledge, he has not.
But and that's not a surprise to me. But look, as I said on a different show the other day, I'm here to bring the party together. That's what I want to do. After last year over the Broome County District Attorney's race, when the establishment went against our sitting chief assistant Republican district attorney, I was very concerned about that. And rightfully so, because it divided the party in Broome County. Now it's time to bring the party together. And I want to be that candidate that does that.
And I think you can be. I think that's one of the strengths that you uniquely put together because you've been there before. And I have made no bones about the fact that I do enjoy your campaign. I was a supporter for you last time, and I have no problem saying that publicly just for people to know. But that doesn't stop me from asking tough questions or from making sure that we're getting all the information voters need to know. Because that's what I do.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, there's so many things, but I want to know, is there an issue or something that I haven't addressed? I know we've tried to touch a lot of different bases here. and I know it's not a lot of time. We're going to talk more as we go forward, but let me ask you, is there something that's pressing now that I have not gone over so far that you think you need to say to the voters out there, to whether they be Republicans or Democrats or conservatives, libertarians? Is there an issue that you want to make sure they know where you stand on right now?
Sure. Well, it's tough to pick one issue, Mike. I'm
Of
going to be
course.
honest.
Or you can say many. You've got time.
I'm going to be. I'm going to be. It's tough to pick one issue, but between my Lyme disease advocacy, my stance on our Second Amendment and how we need to defend it, and when you look at the issue with affordability in New York, Mike, I honestly, I really couldn't pinpoint one. There's so many issues that affect so many different people that they all need to be addressed. And let me say this that I haven't said yet today. Yeah. We have a lot of farmers in the 122nd Assembly District. They need to be protected. They need to be respected. And we need to go to Albany and let them know that they are here, they exist, and they need to be treated respectfully. And that's exactly what I want to do. And as I said, there's a number of issues, Mike. But,
that makes me think of one. Matter of fact, you just reminded me of one. Because it addresses farmers, the Bluestone wind farm.
So I am openly against the governor's idea to turn upstate into a battery with wind turbines. He's doing it in my town of Sanford. I am part of the Broome County Concerned Residents, which I'm proud to be part of that group because it is a local group that wants to preserve our land. We don't want to see the tops of our mountains cut so that 700-foot turbines can be put there, which oftentimes aren't efficient. They leak oil, they kill the property value, and they kill eagles a lot of times. And we know out in Deposit, there's eagles out there. We have them. So to me, I think this is just something from the governor who wants to fit a quota of green energy. I believe he said it was by 2030. He wants to meet some number, and he's using his quota on the backs of the people in the town of Sanford, and even up in Guilford, they're also doing the same thing. And I am adamantly against that. Now, look, Mike, I'm not against green energy at all. That's not what I'm saying. There are methods of green energy that if you don't put government subsidies into it, and if it works, we should go that route. But with this Bluestone project and with what the governor is proposing, it's being funded by the government, and there's so much subsidies that are going into it, and it's essentially powering the entire project because it can't power itself on its own. And I am against the project, Mike.
Yeah, I wanted to ask one specific question about that because I know you've been involved, you've been following it, you're very active about that, as you mentioned. I know in speaking with people in Cortland where they have wind farms, and this has been an issue since 2014, and I know across the country this has been a problem. When those blades break, which they do often in cold weather climates, and they cause a lot of damage when they do break, but more importantly, those blades can't be recycled. And a lot of people don't know that. You can't recycle them. And the only answer is to bury them. Has the Bluestone Project addressed the cost and or how they're going to bury those blades when they break? Because they always do.
So they're being very nebulous with the entire process. They're doing it behind the back of the people, the community. So I couldn't answer that question. They really haven't, to my knowledge, given us a straight answer. I've heard rumors that they want us to bury them after the 20 years when they've expired. I've heard rumors that they said, hey, you can keep it for the scrap metal, which I think is quite frankly insulting because, as you said, I believe there's fiber carbon in the wind turbines that you can't recycle them. And not to mention, you need huge flatbed trucks to move these blades to recycle them, which is going to cut the cost of your profit when you recycle the blades anyway. So it's really unfortunate. I do believe our town of Sanford's being used for a green energy ploy, and it really is sad.
See, this is what I love about being able to talk to candidates directly and to get information for the public. People know what's going on. not necessarily what we're being told in the meetings or in very short town halls or on the news media, major news media. This is something I think people need to know, voters need to know. So I thank you for giving us more insight on that, because that's a question I couldn't find an answer on, and I was hoping. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's tough, and not to cut you off. I'm sorry, but they're keeping the process, as I said, Nebula. It's not something they want to put out there because they know what they're doing. The community is not going to agree with.
Yeah. Now I know we've got maybe about 4 minutes here, and I, of course, want to make sure that people are able to know about you separate of this. How do they reach out to you? Where do they go? Where you're going to be that they could speak with you?
So you can always reach out to me online. I have my site, nicklibous.com, and I would encourage anybody to go check it out, check out some of my views and some other things. I also have a Facebook page with an overwhelming amount of followers and likes at this point. And as I said before, I'm just so happy with the amount of support I've been receiving so far since I've announced Monday. And if you reach out to me on Facebook, or if you reach out to me, there's ways you can email me on the website. And I'll respond. I have a team that will respond, and I'll look at all the questions. So that's an easy way to check it out.
Yeah, and it's on screen right now, the site, and some of the issues that are highlighted on there: Veteran Affairs, New York State Bail Reform Act, repealing the New York SAFE Act, taxes and affordability, out-of-state migration, the green light law. There's something that not a lot of people have talked about recently, although that goes with bail reform, I think, to an extent.
Right.
Lyme disease, jobs and economy, a video on you and your view. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything, including your story, and people are able to see that. Go ahead.
And Mike, to answer your question, I'm going to be out. For example, yesterday I was up in Otsego County. I was shaking hands with some of the town board members up there. I'm going to be going out, obviously, door to door. I'm going to be going to events in the 122nd Assembly District. And you can find those as we go on the website and on the Facebook page, and we'll post some pictures. And I look forward to getting back out there again and shaking the hands of the voters and meeting them one-on-one.
Well, I'm looking forward to being able to see you out on the campaign trail. Of course, I will be covering that. I look forward to being able to speak with you more as we go forward about the campaign and what's going on with it. And hopefully, I know I've asked a couple of tough questions because I'm going to ask the same of everybody.
Sure.
But I hope you enjoyed it and it's gone well for you. I think it was.
Thank you.
I think it's been a great interview.
I enjoyed it very much, Mike. Thank you for your time, and thank you for getting information out to the community like you do. You're one of a kind.
Oh, well, I thank you for that. Folks, this has been Nick Libous. He is the candidate for the New York 122nd District. You'll be able to see him. He's going to be going out for petitions in February. Like many candidates, that starts on the 25th of February. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
That's right. And folks, you can also, as I have on the screen right now, you can always go to his website. That is nicklibous.com. It has contact information there. You can reach out to him that way. And of course, see him out on the road as he speaks to voters. Nick, I want to thank you. I have one of my other guests coming in shortly. So I know I thank you, by the way, for taking time out of your day and out of your campaign to speak with us. And I'm going to be talking to you very, very soon.
My pleasure, Mike. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, folks. So that was Nick Libous. He is the candidate of the 122nd District. I hope you've enjoyed that. I always look forward to being able to speak to all of the candidates. And a little bit later this week, as a matter of fact, on Sunday, I expect to be speaking with one of the other candidates. That's going to be Vic Furman. And we're going to be speaking about his views on the New York 122nd District, about this race and what he hopes to be able to provide. We have not been able to reach Joe Angelino at this time, but of course he's always welcome to come on at any time, and we'll be happy to speak with him as well. So with that said, let's also look at some of the other things that I have been talking about. And by the way, folks, I am looking for your comments, your thoughts, not only on how to improve the show, but also how to tell you more about what's happening on the show. So please do always let us know. We're looking forward to your feedback. If you want to, you can always donate to the program. Please don't forget, you can reach us at the GoFundMe, as you see on the screen. GoFundMe Support Free Press. And a donation, $1, 50 cents, $500, whatever. It all adds up because it helps keep the lights on. And I'm just making sure. I see there's a comment here. Whoops. Wait a minute. Sorry, I'm just trying to see the comments here. All right, and we have some people who are very happy about the comments so far. I do thank Harold Baylor, Daniel Wilson, and Teresa Marie. You guys have all been watching. We're always happy to see you there because I do pay attention to your comments. So let me go on and talk about some of the other things. I am going to be speaking with Jon Lizak of the College Republicans shortly. He's expected to be here any minute. And there's so many things that we just haven't been hearing being talked about. I mean, can you imagine, folks? Everyone has been so wrapped up in talking about what's going on with the impeachment. This is big news. Think about it. There was a 5-4 ruling in the Supreme Court. President Trump has made a decision about people who are coming into the United States, legally coming into the United States. Big difference. Because I know there's always that mishmash of, well, they're illegal aliens, they're legal aliens. If you listen to some progressives, they mashed them all together and you couldn't tell the difference because they talk about them interchangeably. There is a difference. But specifically talking about legal immigration, and I really want to hear what people have to say about this. Talking about legal immigration, I have to ask the question, green cards, should everyone be allowed in, even if they have no way to support themselves? And this is different than illegal aliens, who we know a large percentage do get government aid, whether it's schooling for their kids, health care, whether it's not paying into the system. There's a lot of programs just for them. And if they're in New York State, they can vote because Governor Cuomo is giving them driver's licenses, which is illegal, so they can drive without insurance because that would be illegal, and so that they can go to and from jobs that are illegal for them to have. And if they are working at a job, well, they must have an illegal Social Security number because that's the only way you can get a job in the United States. So either they're working off the books, which is bad, or they've stolen someone's Social Security number, and that's fraud. And so that's another crime that's being committed, being supported by Governor Cuomo and the Democratic Party in New York State. And they're getting aid. So should we also say that, well, for illegal aliens, you have no way to support yourself, so you're not benefiting the nation and coming in with something positive? Should we also say to those people, hey, no problem, come on in, and also let's just give you everything. We're going to give you support. We're going to give you money. We're going to give you aid. The Supreme Court said that since President Trump said he didn't want to do that, no, we don't have to do that. By the way, a lot of people may not realize that was part of a condition of coming to the United States in the past. It was part of immigration policy that if you could not support yourself, that you are not allowed in the United States, that you had to be able to provide proof, or at least present the potential that you could do something to benefit the United States to be allowed to be in the United States. That's since changed as the government became more progressive, and we allow aliens in for lots of reasons, legal aliens, immigrants. So I always find that interesting, and I look forward to what people have to say about that. Please remember, you can always reach us. Now that the phone lines are free, you can reach us at 607-242-1582. Again, that is 607-242-1582. And I believe that's Jon Lizak coming in. We're going to be talking with him in just a moment, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with him about, well, what's going on at Binghamton University, because there's a lot going on up there, and it's going to be very interesting. So while he's coming in and we're going to get him set up, I'm just getting the screen set up for you. I also want to talk about a little bit about none other than what we saw happen with Steve Cornwell. Steve Cornwell, not a bad guy. He really isn't. But did he bite off too much? Was it too much for him when he decided that he wanted to be running for Congress? As someone who has personally done it myself, it is a tough race. It is difficult. And so I can appreciate and respect that he went for it. And I think that he should be commended for going out there and trying to represent the public in what he thought was the best way possible. And the fact that he wants to go and run for Broome Family Court Justice. Steve, I wish you the best of luck in that. I hope that you're going to be able to do it. And I think that as a former DA, someone with a huge history in law enforcement, I think that could be a great position for him. I don't know. Not everyone may agree, but I'd love to hear what people think about that. But I did want to address it. No, I wasn't a supporter of Steve Cornwell, but you know what? That doesn't mean I don't think he deserves congratulations in going out there and doing what he thought was the best thing. I know how it feels to do that, and I support him in all of his endeavors going forward. I want to see him do as well as possible because I think he's still good for the district. But of course, we have the one and only, we have Jon Lizak here with us. Give me a second to get him up here. John, there you are.
Hello.
The color's off on this. Let me try and fix it real quick. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. And everyone should be able to hear John very well. Let's see if we fix this color. Yes, there's always something to do with the technology.
Of course.
It's never quite right. I'm always tweaking this stupid thing. You need more of a tan. You, John, yeah. You need.
No, I need to tan.
You need to tan. It would make it easier because you get washed out a little bit.
It's hard. It's the dead of winter. How am I going to do that?
I don't know. I don't have that problem.
All right, of course.
I don't have that problem. I always have a tan.
Right.
But folks, this is Jon Lizak. He is the president of the Binghamton University College Republicans. He has you took over for John Restuccia.
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm. And you have been busy.
Yes. We've been quite busy these last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. There has been a lot going on over there. Keep talking for a second. I just want to check the sound levels here.
Yeah. Do you want me to get into it?
Nope, you're perfect.
All right.
Okay, we're getting you great. So let's take a second. I want to back up a little bit. And I believe we may also hear from Lacey Kestecher, who there's a certain personality, a news reporter in the area,
another
a
big
talk
one,
show host who can't get her name right.
No.
He screws up her name every time he says it.
Yeah, I mean it's a unorthodox last name, but it's not impossible.
I get it right.
You can. Yeah, I got it right the first time. I got it right every time, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either, but I like to call her the JiuJitsu ninja.
Right.
And people who know and have been following the show and how we've been talking with her from the very first incident at Binghamton University, where she was subjected to a harassment online, cyberbullying. She was being intimidated. When we first had that, we broke that story, which has led to, in part, all of the things that have happened since. When I was talking to her, that's where that JiuJitsu ninja storyline comes from, also partially from President Trump as well.
Yeah,
she spoke with him, which great honor.
Yeah, that was big. I was in the audience for that. Very surprising.
Oh, you were in Florida then?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. I'm a little upset she didn't give me a shout out during that speech, but we'll take it. It was still good. Great for the club. Great for her. Very happy.
And puts Binghamton University and what's been going on there right in front of the president, the administration, which has a lot of implications. So let me shut up for a second. I want you to take charge here and tell us a little bit about how did we get here? Just roll us through. Where did this start? How and where are we now?
Well, I mean, where exactly? We can go way far back. Are you talking about what happened these last couple of weeks?
Wrap it up. It's on you.
All right. Well, to go all the way back to the beginning of the fall, this all these incidents, it all began because we decided to form an effective conservative club. That's it. There was not a strong conservative voice on campus. There was a very strong progressive voice on campus. And we decided to make a change. We decided to rise up as a conservative group. And hey, if that shook some things up, if that made some people upset, good, fine. But we wanted to do that. We were going to do that. And we did it. And we really got the backlash once we started advertising for that Laffer event. Right? Once we did the tabling, once we did the event, that's when all the frustration from progressives, from leftists on campus, lashing out at us for all the success we've had over that semester, it all came out during that Laffer event.
Right.
And since then, it's only gotten more tense, I would say.
Right.
They've put it on social media. They're blasting us. They're telling people to both ignore us, but also they're saying that they're going to have a strong response this semester. Very mixed messages.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah, I do want to get into that. But yeah, and then we started this semester off. We got Tom Reed down on campus to support free speech. We did the same tabling event that we did last time, but with Tom Reed. It was open to the public. Anyone could come up and ask questions if they wanted to. It was sort of like a change my mind type of thing.
Right.
We put on the sign, should students be guaranteed their right to free speech on campus, with Congressman Tom Reed, and he was there. We were there. We were talking with him. There was some opposition. They didn't want to identify themselves. They wanted to kind of stay in the shadows on that one. A lot of cameras around. Didn't want to make a scene again. And that event went really well. Overall, no problems. I think it definitely was a good end to the arc of the Laffer saga.
Right.
It was a good way to wrap it up. It's a good way to end it.
So there's a couple things about that.
Yeah.
That I want to address. And personally, I have an issue with part of this, not with the students, but with Congressman Anthony Brindisi. Congressman Anthony Brindisi is the representative for the New York 22nd District.
Yes.
Has he reached out to the college Republicans or any of the students who have been involved in the mob attack in November, any of the students who were present at the Laffer event, Dr. Laffer himself, has he spoken to any, are you aware if he's spoken to the Binghamton University administration about this?
From what I know, from what I've heard, not a single word has come out of his mouth about any of this.
I have not seen anything. He has not spoken about it. He has not reported on it. He has avoided this completely, which is upsetting.
Yeah.
Because this is his district, and this is a First Amendment issue, and this is his constituents who have been threatened, menaced, and intimidated, and physically threatened. Yeah. So I find it very troubling that the congressman who, Binghamton University, it's his district, isn't doing his job. And thankfully, Representative Tom Reed did step up to do the job Anthony Brindisi would not do.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be fair and speak to the source. If he had actually spoke to you, I would, obviously I would apologize for everything I got wrong, but I'm not wrong. He hasn't done it, and he won't explain why. So, speaking about Representative Tom Reed, did you reach out to him or did he reach out to you guys?
Well, most of the talking was between Restuccia and Reed. So I'm not sure who initiated, but I was handed it over after last semester. We've been in talks, so I don't know who initiated.
Okay.
But yeah, I was communicating with them. I was setting the whole thing up.
And he was very positive. As I understand, he was very positive about speaking with you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he thought this was important.
Yes, he took, from what I heard from the schedulers and all that, a lot of time was dedicated, more than usual was dedicated to this, meaning it is very important to him. This is something he definitely wants to deal with, even if it's not in his district, even if it's not in his area. This is something he definitely wants to tackle by himself.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And I know that he's gone very public in, or the conversation he had with BU President Harvey Stenger was published. It's been out there, and in that conversation, I found something very troubling, and you can tell me if you thought so too. President Harvey Stenger of Binghamton University said he didn't know what was going on. He hadn't spoken to anyone from November until January, when you were able to speak to him for the first time about what was going on in this whole situation that was national news.
Yeah.
Did that surprise you when he said that?
Well, I mean, it surprised me that he said it. It surprised me that came out of his mouth. But, obviously I wasn't reached out to, so I knew that this was the case. I knew that he wasn't talking to the club about it. I knew he wasn't opening his mouth. It really just shows that he wanted this whole thing to just die out. He did not want to address it.
He did go on WNBF and publicly say that the college Republicans were at fault, the college Republicans who were acknowledged nationally as victims in this process, whose First Amendment rights were being suppressed. He came out and said, you guys were the problem. He punished and backed up punishing you guys. And then in January, he says, I don't even know what's going on.
Right.
But he hadn't even spoken to anyone about this.
Yeah, it must have been a long, long time. He forgot about all of it.
And Mr. Stenger, if you disagree with this, there are conversations on WNBF, which I've recorded some, and you yourself, it's recorded. You spoke to Congressman Tom Reed, and you said that in your meeting. So right. I'm quoting you, paraphrasing at the second, what you said. So if Mr. Stenger disagrees, I'd be happy to have him on here. He was supposed to follow up in a week. It's been a week and a half since Tom Reed was there, as I recall. Has anything been said?
Nothing has been said to me.
Has the university reached out to you since the meeting with Congressman Tom Reed?
No, they said they would. They didn't reach out to me yet.
Let me make sure I got it right. As I recall from the interview, as it was published, and you were there at the interview, in the conversation with Stenger and Congressman Reed, he did say he would be reaching out to you in a week.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done so.
I have not gotten anything yet.
No one from the administration.
No one from the administration. Not just him. And it wasn't him. He didn't tell me directly. It was someone else that told me directly. But still, no word from the administration at all to me.
Okay.
Nothing to the club.
Nothing to the club. That's troubling.
It is.
How does that make you feel about Binghamton University?
I mean,
the administration, not the students, not the teachers, but the administration.
It just confirms everything we already knew. I'm a freshman still. When I came in, I knew I was hearing it. The administration, they don't care about us. All of this, they'll ignore us if something bad happens. All of that, and I believed it. Of course, this is what I'm told. I believed it. I went with it. And now I gave them a chance. I gave them a chance to say their part, and it just confirms it. It just confirms they just straight up do not care.
Yeah, and because they're not talking. They promised a sitting congressman that they were going to do something and gave a specific time frame, and they've thrown it out the window because they think no one's paying attention.
Yeah.
BU administration, Harvey Stenger, I'm paying attention, and people who listen to this and are nationally, it's being paid attention to. This doesn't end there because Harvey Stenger, his very progressive viewpoints, his lack of action, and the administration's lack of action isn't the whole story, though, for this semester. There's a new chapter that's happened here, and I was reporting on it about 2 days ago. I think you may have seen it. I'm sure you've heard about it. The BU progressives released several tweets, documents out, telling other progressives and members of Plot that they're terrified of the Binghamton University college Republicans and conservatives. and that if you happen to be, and again, I just put it on the screen. I did an entire episode on that. I want to be very clear. From what I'm understanding, they are telling progressives at Binghamton University, run away, hide, don't talk about what you think. Even though that you should feel like you are great and that you have a good idea, if you're talking to anyone who is not a progressive, run away, hide, don't talk to them. Did you see that?
Yeah, I read that post out to my to the club. I read it out during our meeting.
What did they say?
The club?
Yeah.
Oh, we loved it. We all loved it. It was just there were a lot of takeaways from it. My main takeaway was just that we won. They just threw up the white flag.
Okay.
That's it.
Here's the one that, and I've got it on the screen right now, and I want to be very clear. I'm quoting it now. It says, "What to do if you see Turning Point USA," and I assume that includes all conservatives, all Republicans who are visible on campus. Number one, their most important thing is do not engage. They claim that the goal of Republicans and conservatives on Binghamton University campus is to instigate, perpetuate conflict, and use the attention to pretend to be victims. Now, this is what they say. There has been nationally supported viral video of the college progressives attacking, menacing, intimidating, and being told that they were going to be arrested for harassment, and I believe there are charges that are out at this time for those progressives attacking you. How did that make you guys? I know you were at the November event where 200 progressives gathered on orders. They were told, there was, as the Binghamton Review reported right afterwards, and showed the actual pictures of the tweets saying, go out, harass these guys, let's target them. And they surrounded you 200 to 3. How do you feel when you hear someone say, oh, no, you're not a victim. We're the victims because there's 200 of us and 3 of you guys intimidate us so much that we're terrified. We got to hide.
Yeah, I mean, this is nothing new. They say the same thing every single time. There's no original ideas coming from them, and this has always been their mindset. It's always been, oh yeah, Turning Point USA, which by the way is just me and Lacey. Mm-hmm. When they address Turning Point USA, that's just me and Lacey at this point, right? The club hasn't even started yet. Right. They're already afraid of it.
It's not official yet.
Yeah, it's not official. Yeah. But yeah, it just shows how where the conversation's at, right? It's not about conversations. It is about groupthink. It is about getting just avoiding conversation entirely. That is where all of this has gone to. They want to run. They don't want to engage. They never wanted to engage. And then this is just the result of it. They put things like that online, and I don't know. I don't want to say it's upsetting because it's just sad. It's just like pathetic almost to see that,
Mm-hmm. You know what I think, and tell me what you think about this.
Yeah.
I find it to be basically the Binghamton University progressives plot, Progressive Leaders of Tomorrow, who have been the 2 main instigators of all of these incidents at the campus. They're suppressing their own people. It's the First Amendment, this is all about the First Amendment. Being able to have a conversation, to speak to people and say, hey, let's talk.
Right.
Let's have a conversation. They're telling their own people to hide, to not express themselves, to not speak out. No one, and the whole fight is you should be able to speak out, that you should be able to express yourself, you should be able to share your views, and everyone should be able to hear you. And they're saying to their own people, run, hide, don't speak, don't talk to anyone. And when one of their tweets, they're basically saying, we're a cult. This is my view of it, that they're a cult, and you can only talk to other people in the cult of progressives. And that's point 3, which is on the screen right now.
Right.
If you are being targeted or feel unsafe, contact us, not the police, not the administration. No, only talk to other progressives. that's a cult mentality. And I find it odd that these guys who are saying, oh, we're all for the First Amendment, are out there suppressing their own people.
Yeah, and it's an important point to make that they specifically in that part, they mention, and I think they do it a couple times, they say the police won't protect us, the administration won't protect us. Creating narratives like that only drives further this cult narrative. They're only going to make people more dependent, more sheep-like in their movement if they're going to say things like that,
Yeah.
Don't go out to outside sources, only talk to us. You're only allowed to talk to us.
It's crazy.
It is, yeah.
And they're saying the administration isn't going to help you.
Not going to help.
Harvey Stenger punished you. He went out publicly and made statements against the club.
You have no idea.
And yet, but they're not going to. I don't understand. The logic doesn't make sense. Silencing your own people in a conversation about, or an argument or a discussion about the First Amendment, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The progressives, guys, I know plot, they're doing their monthly recruitment videos now at a local radio station, a small one. And, I'd love to hear you guys explain this to me because it makes no sense. Oh, we may have someone who's, let's see. Hello. Oh, hello.
Hey, Michael.
Oh, hey. Hey, folks.
Hey.
Guess who this is, folks? This is Lacey Kestecher, our very own jiu-jitsu ninja.
Hello.
How are you doing, Lacey?
I'm doing great. How about you, Michael?
I'm doing well. I'm going to get your face on this screen in a second, but have you been listening to what we've been talking about?
No, I actually just got out of class, and then I saw that Jon was on with you, so I figured I'd join. I figured I'd join the podcast. Why not?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, you are always definitely welcome to be here with us.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh, yeah.
Always nice to be on the Vast Political Commentary podcast. Very fun.
I love it. And now we've got you with
the Trump
President
picture,
Trump. Yeah. Just to throw it together a little bit and put this in perspective, we've been talking a little bit about what's happened since, both with Congressman Tom Reed, showing up on the campus, speaking with Harvey Stenger on your behalf, the fact that Congressman Anthony Brindisi, who is in charge of the New York, or represents the New York 22nd District, has ignored you guys, has not reached out to anyone, to our knowledge, and that the President Stenger has failed in his promise to reach out to you guys in a week. And now the BU progressives are hiding from the discussion on the First Amendment and actively sending out messages saying, run, hide, stay in the shadows, because they're afraid of the conversation. We're just talking about all of that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Definitely with Brindisi, it's extremely concerning, being that he's a representative and he has nothing to say about any of the incidents which occurred in his district at Binghamton University, which is obviously the SUNY State School. And instead, we have Tom Reed coming out to support us, who's in an entirely different district. And he's spoken up, but Brindisi's just hiding in the shadows, hasn't said anything. And I think we speak for all of us. He is embarrassing to have as our congressman and to represent us, being that he's really not fighting for our rights, our First Amendment rights especially, that being free speech. And, Brindisi, he really shouldn't be in office at the end of the day if he's not going to be doing what he should be doing for the people who he represents. I know Tom Reed definitely has our back, and he's willing to do anything for us to keep on protecting our rights, but our own representative isn't doing anything right now. So I think Jon definitely agrees with me also. Tom Reed's it was really amazing for him to come out and support us, and being that he's so busy in Washington, taking all that time out to meet with not only us, but President Stenger as well, and really just express what should be happening on this campus. It was extremely important for us to know that we have congressional support, but obviously that's something Brindisi should have been doing as well, and I'm really wondering, where is he? Why isn't he doing what he should be doing for his own people right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tom Reed he's our guy at this point. He's the one that's really standing up for our rights. He came out all this way from his district. spent a lot of time on us, which was super honorable, very respectful, and you got to honor the guy. He's just a great man.
Yeah, he's been doing great. And I, as I said, I respect and I thank him for doing this. Whereas Mr. Brindisi, I don't know what's going on with him. And I know before you guys got to school, you're both freshmen. But in 2018, when he was running, he was all over Binghamton University, promising progressives that he would be involved.
Right.
And here he is. Have you seen him on campus since? While you've been there in the last year, have you seen him?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. Never.
Kind of says something there. Lacey, let me ask you something. You've been a big advocate now for the First Amendment. We've been talking to you since the very first attempts at cyberbullying and intimidation when you came onto the campus. We broke that story. We're continuing to talk about it. Mm-hmm. We now see that the progressives at the college have said they're going to, you may have seen this, John was talking about it at the last College Republicans meeting. He says they sent out this message saying they're going to hide from you, that they're not going to engage because they're the victims and you are the aggressor. What do you think about that?
I'll be honest, Michael, the second that I saw that, I actually laughed because they're calling us the aggressors right now. I didn't know that getting screamed in my face at for 2+ hours and being harassed and assaulted, that I'm the one who's intimidating them now. I mean, if they want to take that stance and they want to hide, they're scared of intellectual argument because everything that they say has absolutely no validity. It's not backed up by facts or statistics or anything. So it really doesn't surprise me. There's a big difference between a liberal and a leftist. Progressives are obviously leftists. They're not liberals. They just take a far left stance and they can't support anything that they say. And considering right now that they're just going to try and hide from us, I'd like to see that happen, considering that they already yelled at one of our club members as he walked by their tabling. They were tabling for another club the other day, and they just started yelling at him for no reason.
That's right. I forgot to mention that.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, it just shows I don't know. Is this low impulse control? Is this just like they say one thing and they just can't help themselves?
So they couldn't help themselves. They had to go out and, again, harass someone walking past them.
Not engaging.
So the student was just walking to perhaps a class or whatever. And I understand, I have to say, this is third-hand information. I wasn't there to see it. It sounds like you guys weren't the ones it happened to. So we do need to put that out there. But I have no reason not to believe you. And I don't think anyone does because we've seen evidence of this.
It just happened so many times, yeah.
It's just the usual. I mean, Michael, I wear a Jewish star. I'm Jewish. I went to Israel, and they call me a Nazi. I just have to laugh at it now. I just have to laugh at it now because it's so unreal, and I just don't understand the logic where they're coming from. They're saying that they're not going to be aggressive. They're going to be quiet. They're very tolerant. They want to listen to your point of view. They want to do this, that, and then they'll just go screaming at you. If there's any association to Turning Point or to me being that I am the president of Turning Point, people just, I didn't know that screaming gets you anywhere at the end of the day.
Well, I think they realize that that's all they really have. They don't have, it's not that they have debates. They don't have any arguments. All they really have is to scream. So they took that away from themselves and they realized, now we're not a club anymore.
Well, yeah, what else do they do? Actually, exactly. That's a good question. Have they reached out to either of you or anyone in the clubs to say, hey, let's have a public debate. Let's discuss the ideas. I know we had last semester, I was one of the speakers at the Fight Against Socialism, the discussion on socialism. And it was open to the public, not only the university, but everyone.
Yeah.
And I think there was one person who was there for the BU pipe dream who misrepresented me. They were paying so much attention that they claimed that I was a Russian, surprising my mother, myself, and of course the United States Marine Corps about that, saying I was born and raised in Moscow. which if you've been to the Bronx, not the same. But that being said, so it was open, and they just, not only did they not show up, the two people they sent as representatives didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
Are you guys willing to debate with them?
Of course, we're always open for discussion. That's always been the right, I would say, right wingers.
Mm-hmm.
We are always open for discussion. That is always our goal. However, obviously, it doesn't happen because we just get yelled at. We just get screamed at. It's not going to work if that's the case. You can see during the original video, we tried to have conversations. We tried to debate with these people. Mm-hmm. When you got 200 people yelling at us, that's no longer possible. It no longer becomes an option. And as far as scheduling a debate goes, we're always trying. I think there's one plan going through now, but like the progressives haven't agreed, and so they're going to make it like an open thing. We're always willing to debate. We will show up to any debate. The other side just has to pull their own weight. Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, go ahead, Lacey.
Yes, and it's even funny, Michael, because first off, they're unable to debate in a group situation where you have multiple people. Obviously, when they're screaming at you, you can't debate. But even just a 2-on-1 conversation, I remember initially 2 girls came up to me.
Right.
They can't even hold a debate there. They just insult you, and they try to make you feel bad about yourself, but their arguments have absolutely no validity. That it's quite funny when they're just calling you stupid, this, that, oh, I want to rip off her Trump hat, this, that. It's really funny when you listen to it, because not only do their arguments not make any sense and they don't line up, they can't even engage in civil discourse. It's just, I don't get it. They're just unable to. It's like these ideas, which our nation was founded on, they've never heard of it. I don't know what history courses they're taking, but it seems like they come from, I don't even know. It just seems like they're not even reading our history books, really. It's like they're reading just biased sources constantly, and that's what their whole framework of mind is made of.
Well, obviously, if you have to only talk to other progressives, if that's the message, only talk to other progressives, there's a flaw if you can't talk to other people. I mean, that's what the First Amendment's about. Let me ask you guys this. You've gotten a lot of attention. I mean, we've had several viral videos. We had a viral event that was talked about nationally. Lacey, you've been able to speak to the President of the United States directly, and he addressed this issue directly. You recently were on WNBF, where your name was mispronounced constantly. And I did hear part of that interview. I wasn't able to hear the whole thing. Let me ask you, since this has happened and looking at this moment, have conservatives at Binghamton University, in the community, have they come up to you? Have they said that they're encouraged or they're afraid? Has this had a positive effect or a negative effect for conservatives, Republicans that you guys are aware of?
Honestly, Michael, I want to say it's taken both situations. I've had conservatives come up to me and voice how they really respect what we're doing as a club and organization to promote our conservative values. But at the same time, I mean, I've lost a lot of friends just for being a conservative. I'll be honest. I don't care at this point. I wear it on my chest. I wear it on my heart. If I'm a Republican, I'm not afraid to say it, but obviously it has a dual effect at the end of the day. Some people obviously are joining the club and want to get more involved, whereas people that were a bit more hesitant now, I've noticed they're just keeping their mouth shut and they're not saying anything because they're so targeted on this campus now. So in terms of overall, I think it's half-half, but I've definitely seen some people back away from the movement, and we've seen a few people rise forward, but it's not easy being a conservative on a college campus.
Either. That's a tough, so I get it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's unfortunate, but that's what we believe in and we stand by it. And at the end of the day, we hope that people would at least respect us for what we believe in. And if people aren't scared to voice their own opinions, but at least what I've come into situations with, it seems like a lot of conservatives have just kind of been staying more quiet now. Seen a few speak up, but for the most part, just very, very quiet. And I haven't seen much activism at all.
What about you, John?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, like you said, there's going to be positives and negatives, but as far as the trajectory of the club and conservative students on campus, I only see it going up, really.
Mm-hmm.
We hit a very low bottom in November. What happened there was disgraceful. Everyone agrees, unless you're some people. But
The ones who are willing to talk about it.
Of course. But since then, it's only been going uphill. We get a lot of support. For every one person that is counter signaling, is saying, "Oh, we don't, we don't like what you're doing." There's 10 more people that say, "Keep doing this, please keep going. You're saving us." You get 10 of those, and some of them are joining the club. Not all of them, obviously. Again, like you said, it's hard to be a campus conservative, but there is an upward trajectory, and we're going to do great things this semester, and it's all uphill. It's really all uphill from here.
Well, speaking about both forward momentum and what's going to happen this year, let me ask you guys. Lacey, obviously you've been in touch with the administration. You've been on national TV. John, you've been one of the people featured prominently. You've talked to Harvey Stenger. Let me ask you guys, going forward, what is it that the club is looking to do, whether it be Turning Point USA or the College Republicans? And personally, how are you guys moving forward? I mean, are opportunities opening up for you guys? Are we going to see you on somebody's national campaign anytime soon, like President Trump or anybody, actually?
Yeah, okay, I'll start. Yeah, sure. I mean, as far as where things are going, I know personally a lot of opportunities are opening up for myself that I may be engaging in the future. We'll see where that goes. I know the club. There's a lot of things being planned for the club. CPAC is obviously confirmed. We're doing that. Right. And there are a couple other things that haven't been released yet that we've been in talks with local GOP, with the club members, with other organizations. We've been in talks. But we can guarantee there's going to be more happening this semester with the club.
Okay. And Lacey?
Yes, and definitely just to piggyback off what John's saying, obviously a lot of opportunities come out of this. And unfortunately, they had to rise out of that situation in November. But yes, definitely just pushing the clubs forward, more activism. As we look to 2020, obviously getting Trump reelected, that's our main picture right now, because it is an election year, and turning districts red, that's just overall our main thing right now. And we have things in the work. Obviously, we want to bring speakers to campus and just bringing more of the conservative ideology overall here. Definitely focusing on different aspects of it, one of them being Second Amendment, which is a big one for us, as well as First Amendment, obviously considering what's happened. Social issues, obviously, being the pro-life movement, which is very important to us. But our most recent upcoming event is obviously CPAC, where we're all extremely excited. We're going to be hearing the president speak and just hearing all these amazing speakers talk about how the conservative movement has impacted our country and just shaping it forward and continuing on right now.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to CPAC. It's going to be my second time going there, so I'm going to be seeing you guys down there. It's going to be lots of fun. A slightly different role for me this time than the first time. I want to actually enjoy it a little bit this time. Not just report it, but enjoy it a little bit, although I'll do a bunch of reporting too. By the way, totally different question. How do you like my hashtag JiuJitsu Ninja?
Michael, I love it. It's really funny because Michael, I like that hashtag a lot because my coaches do call me Ninja when I go to jiu-jitsu. Right. So it fits perfectly. Hashtag JiuJitsu Ninja. I'm getting a lot of the jiu-jitsu people following me on my social medias for sure. And I can attribute it to you, Michael. I have to thank you for that because this hashtag is going to get me. It's going to get me some of the martial arts people following me for sure.
No, please do use it. I love it. I remember when I was watching you go up to speak to President Trump, and the first thing that just came to my mind, it's like, as you mentioned, the jiu-jitsu, and that your patience and your tolerance is not being reciprocated, but yet you know you could do something and you didn't. That just made it hit right there, and I was just like, that's a ninja move. JiuJitsu ninja. There she is. And it's just stuck with me since I said it the first time. So I love it.
Thank you. No, yes, I think we can speak on behalf of all college Republicans. We definitely just held our calm during those 3 hours that we got screamed at.
Mm-hmm.
I attribute it, obviously, to martial arts, being able to stay calm, but at the end of the day, we were shown a really great light, thank God, because we just stuck to our core values, and we don't yell when people yell at us. We'll just sit there, we'll take it, but that's not how we argue. We don't hold arguments like that. We could have a disagreement, but we're not going to scream in people's faces, and we would never do that, and we would never physically harass anybody or verbally harass anybody for that point, considering what the progressives do.
No. Let me ask you guys, local politics, not talking about politics in general. And I'm interested in hearing the thoughts of college students, up and coming progressives and conservatives and Republicans about some of the things that haven't been talked out about. Everyone has, we all know the impeachment's going nowhere. That vote's already done. Right, yeah. Doesn't matter if they have interviews, witnesses. What witnesses? There was no crime. Anyway, that being said, let me ask you about some of the things that haven't been talked about. I don't know. Recently, Anthony Brindisi, I've brought him up before. He hasn't spoken to you guys. I was at a town hall in the town of Enwell, where in answering my question, he was talking about Fentanyl Act, which he claims credit for, which did not happen. He did not do it. The fact is there. Congress.gov proves it. These are some of the things that are being spoken about out there. Have you been paying attention to the congressional race at all?
Lacey?
You guys kind of broke up a little bit. Could you ask the question one more time?
Yeah, let me rephrase it a little simpler. Have you guys been following the congressional race at all?
The local congressional?
Yeah, the New York 22. Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, Michael. I am from New Jersey. I've been paying a little bit of attention to it, but not too much. I've been paying more of attention, obviously, to more the national scale right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's where a lot of my focus has been, but a little bit of attention.
Okay.
Not too much.
Yeah, and I'm from Long Island. I'm not from here, but I've been paying attention to the Republican primary more.
Mm-hmm.
That's more my focus on who are we backing, who are we gonna bring down Brindisi. That's really more my focus at this point. Well, so yeah, that is subject to change. Once it is decided who is running and the full race has begun, then we will put our full weight behind it. I'll put my focus on it.
Okay, I was wondering if you guys had plans to bring in either before or after the primary the candidates that exists in that race. So I wasn't sure if you were following it, if you heard about that or not.
We're prepared for it, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we're prepared, though.
Yeah.
Cool. I have been talking a bunch, and I've been saying a lot of things, but let me ask you guys. Is there something that you wanted to take the opportunity to speak to the various people out there who are watching this? Hopefully it's going viral again. We would always hope. But is there anything that you guys wanted to share or talk about, something coming up or personal or professionally that you guys wanted to go over?
I mean, right now for the club, there's no public events that we have planned. That's more after CPAC. Mm-hmm. That's when we're going to start working on things like that. So there are really no club announcements as far as that goes. But of course, we have a Facebook. We have social media. You can reach out to us.
What is the Facebook? What is the social media?
At Binghamton University College Republicans. You could find us there. That is our main platform. And you can message us. You can like our page. That is really the best way to join the club right now. The administration wants there to be 0 ways to join the club right now.
Yeah.
But of course, the Facebook page isn't going down. That's going to stay there. If you want to join the club, you could join it through there. we're hosting meetings. We're doing weekly meetings. That has finally started again. We're going to start getting together, talking again. And yeah, that's really it. We're coming back from the ashes after the administration tried to crush us.
Yeah.
We are back. We are not going anywhere. And stay tuned.
Yeah. How about you, Lacey?
Yes, even just to piggyback off that a little bit more and speak a little bit further on it, we're obviously starting the Turning Point chapter, getting more and more. Going to have club meetings hopefully very soon and get them started and continue the activism for sure. It's very exciting with college Republicans, despite our campus not letting us hold a room and everything. We're still going through with our meetings and continuing to have club membership and recruitment going on. And just to give a little bit of a foresight into the whole issue with the progressives.
Sure.
It's honestly, at this point, I don't get it really anymore. The Democrats, at least the Democrat club on our campus, at least they'll engage in a debate with us and talk to us. I mean, I know that I once had like a disagreement with the Democratic president, just like when we were tabling once, we were just talking about, just differences on opinions where we think speech is.
Right.
But we walked away, we shook hands, and there was absolutely no issue. Nice guy. Shook my hand, goes, "Oh, I hope you have a nice day." Said the same back. I don't understand why the progressives are so angry constantly. It's really bewildering. I always say we live in the greatest country on earth. Where everybody on this campus, nobody's starving on this campus. Everybody lives in a house, something over their head. And obviously, you must have money if you're coming to the school. I mean, obviously
cheap.
some people have have like full paid grants and whatnot, but for the most part, you probably have like at least a little bit of a disposable income.
Right.
Life's not that bad. It's just we don't always have to be so negative and so pessimistic towards everybody. And all the hatred and anger that they have. They talk about the Republicans being a party full of hatred, but just look at all the liberals right now. Or the leftists. They're just so angry. There's absolutely nothing to be angry about. Our economy's hitting highs constantly. Lowest unemployment we can ask for. Defending free speech. Israel as well. Now being recognized by countries such as Saudi Arabia as having the right to be a country. We're in a great time to be alive, and people should enjoy it. Don't take it for granted, and don't be so angry. That's more or less a message for the progressives, because it seems like they're always just so full of hatred towards us.
Very good, very good.
Well, that's probably because all the progressives down in Venezuela don't have iPhones or Starbucks. Although they do have lots of garbage cans, and they have mumps and measles, and they do have the government shooting their own people. They did get that part of the socialist promise. They just didn't get the iPhones, the iPads, and the Starbucks coffee.
I hope we can get some of that over here.
Starbucks coffee? Yes.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's
The
what
rest
I was
of it, not so
referring to.
much. Well, I know we've had a great conversation. I want to thank you guys who've been on for a while. We're going to put this out. I'm always looking forward to it. And everybody, please remember, you can always reach us at 607-242-1582. Yes, there is a delay in responding to tweets or messages because, hello, I work for a living as well as doing this for a living. And speaking of getting things done for a living, please remember you can always donate, whether it's 50 cents, $1, $5, $500. Come on, $500. Somebody's going to do it. And it helps us keep the lights on, keeps things going forward. There are, by the way, a lot of things that will be coming out very shortly. Things that I'm aware of and working on that I haven't spoken about yet. People are going to hear about it soon. It'll come out. But you can always reach us on everything we've done at the text line 607-242-1582. You can reach us at Twitter at MV Consult or on Facebook at Voss Political Commentary, and of course on YouTube at No Soundbites Allowed. Yeah, we make it easy for you to reach out to us, so you can't say you can't get in touch. With that said, unless you guys want to cover something else that I didn't, and
no, we got it all. You hit it right on the head.
all right.
Yeah, I think we definitely hit on everything for sure.
Try. We always try. And if not, next time we will.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
I want to thank our guests today that came in. I want to thank Nick Libous for the interview with him. I want to thank Lacey Kestecher. That's right, Bob Joseph. It's Kestecher.
Kestecher.
The way he's pronounced it's just insane. Who is our very own JiuJitsu ninja. That's right. Move that hashtag, folks. Move it out there. And I want to thank Jon Lizak for coming in with the College Republicans, Turning Point USA. Everyone, I want you to have a great day. Sunday, I'm talking to Vic Furman, who is also a candidate for New York 122nd Assembly District, as well as a few other things. Until then, I'm looking forward to your comments. Everyone be well.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Bye-bye.